Okay. Welcome, y'all, back to Truth, Trust, and Trajectory with your girl, she can be. So today I have a really exciting guest on today. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
I would happy to be here. I am Beth Robbins, coming from my dream home in San Diego, California, where it is always 70 degrees, except for today, where it's 59. I'm just thrilled to be here. I just think we can have a lot of synergy and cover some ground on getting women and men to realize their full potential, power, and purpose in life, and realize that it's not that hard, and it is your God-given right to have it.
I love that. Absolutely love that. First of all, can I just take a second to say, like, coming from New York, I'm so jealous. So jealous. 50
Well,
degrees.
I used to live in Chicago, and I divorced winter and said, "Bye,
Yeah.
Felicia. We're done. Peace out." I have shoveled my last shovel of snow. I'm going back to Chicago for Christmas, and I had to buy a coat.
Yeah, it's ridiculous up here. I mean, like Chicago's like what more south than New York?
I think
North?
it's pretty straight across. Yeah,
Pretty sure. Okay. It's not fair. I'm just gonna say that. So we collectively love the fact that you're enjoying the warm weather. Send some up this way if you can. Uh,
we'll get there around May.
she said, if you act now, you can get nice weather by May.
There you go. Right.
I love that. Okay, so Beth, can you just tell me a little about what got you into your life path and kind of what you're doing now?
Sure. It's been a twisty road. I started off as a Broadway singer, dancer, and actress. So I knew New York and I knew Chicago. And then I became a mom, and showbiz and mom biz, they're not congruent. So I got into personal training, teaching group exercise. And so that was a passion. And I realize now, looking back, the passion for me is coaching.
Mhm.
It's helping people have the aha moment. Like, I don't care if it's how to lunge or if I'm coaching AYSO soccer, how to kick a ball into the net. I mean, just little things that just thrill me to death to just help turn the lights on for people. And I loved it. And I did that career for 30 something years. And then it was time to leave Chicago. And I thought, well, I think maybe I'll try retirement on, see how that fits. So I moved to San Diego, and I am literally living on a pickleball court. I am there morning, afternoon, nighttime, and I am loving my life. I feel like I'm 7. I'm showing up to the court, and I'm finding my friends, and we play, and then we go have lunch, and we come back and we play, and it was really fun. And then COVID hit, and then my old clients back in Chicago said, hello, we can't go to the gym. And I learned how to use Zoom and started teaching on Zoom. So there I go back again. And what happened was I realized I had closed that chapter on teaching fitness, and trying to do it again. I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do it a lot. And I crashed and I burned. And it was like, okay, there was a reason that you closed that chapter. But it also ignited in me, you're not done, girl. You're not supposed to be retired. And I've always had these whispers that I'm supposed to be a life coach, but I didn't really know what the heck is a life coach. Am I coaching you on your life? I'm not a therapist. I don't want to go back to school to do that.
Yeah.
And then what happened for me is that I hired a life coach. And I realized that I couldn't see the picture because I was in the frame. You know, people say that all the time, but when you realize it, it's like, I've read the books, I've gone to the webinars, but if I really knew how to make those big changes in my life, I would have done it already. And I needed a coach to say, this is what you're not seeing. This is what you're not hearing. You're not tapped in, you're not tuned in, and you're not amplifying your life. You're going along to get along because that's what you've always done. You were a people pleaser. You were the mayor of Martyrdom Town. I mean, that's how you operated. That was your thermostat. And when you started to get out of that and heat things up a little bit, your body said, no, we like you back down here. You're not supposed to be up here.
Trying to
because
keep you in your old self.
we've been hanging out here. We're fine. It's good enough. And I kept going, yeah, but I want to go up here. But I didn't know how to raise my frequency to be a match for that. And
Yeah.
that is what the coach taught me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I finally had an aha moment. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this for other people. I know I can. I know I'm supposed to be doing it. I just needed the right system. I
Mhm.
needed the right way to do it in a way that is repeatable and it's reliable and I can do it over and over and over and it works 100% of the time with absolutely every person. If it worked for me and I thought I knew it all. And it's this 2024 has been, I mean, holy cow, like so much has happened. I finally wrote the book. I'm finally getting back on stage. And I wake up every day and, you have that, oh, I'm so grateful. And, I'm grateful for my health. I'm really grateful to have power. I lost power last week. I'm grateful to have my internet. I'm grateful for my friends. But I am grateful that I said yes to me
Yeah.
and investing in becoming where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or truly, and I'm firing on all cylinders. And anyway, that's the long version of how I got to where I am and where I started. And I mean, I was singing on stages when I was 13 and just shifting gears and realizing that's okay. There's so many layers to us as humans, um, that just to be able to peel them away and explore and try new things, it's beautiful, and we all deserve to do it and we should be doing it.
That is so funny because I was having a conversation about, being able to like tap into different versions of yourself earlier today with my best friend. So it's funny that you bring that up. And then you also mentioned kind of like that the power struggle. Not to put words in your mouth, but just the way that I understand it is that power struggle between like what you once maybe were versus like yourself to where you're going, if that makes sense. You know
Yeah.
what
Well,
I mean?
and the word struggle is really what it is because we're fighting against
Yes.
status quo.
Yeah.
And when things start to feel uncomfortable, you're on the growing edge. But
Yeah.
so often we're going, "Oh, I don't like it. It's not comfortable. So I'm good. I'll shrink back here."
Yeah. Yeah. You remain small enough to keep comfortable and kind
Yeah,
of like that trajectory you've already been in, as opposed to being uncomfortable and stepping outside of that.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's so easy to just go, yeah, it's okay. I'm
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
Things are fine. I hate that. You bump into a friend you haven't seen at the grocery store, and you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Tell me what's new. And you're like, oh, same old, same old. Married to Jeff and still have 2.5 kids and the dog and
Yeah.
oh, it's fine. It's like, oh, okay, great seeing you. I'm gonna go check out the tomatoes.
You gotta go check out the tomatoes. It's crazy.
I need a little something spicy. Like so it's like if that is your answer when you bump into somebody,
Yeah.
that should be a wake up, like,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
For sure. Coincidentally, it came up in a conversation a couple of days ago about basically, when you move on from like old versions of yourself, even if that's like people attached,
Yes.
you can kind of like go back because a small part of our mind still like has this thing where it reminisces back on like old situations, right?
Yeah.
And because we're feeling like partially we're missing out on something.
Uh,
Right.
yeah.
So when we look back, it's kind of like confirmation that, yes, babe, like this is why this happened. You know, you were
Yep.
meant to move forward because I don't know, like it does something to you when you see those people or situations or circumstances, whatever it is, are still in the same exact spot that they were,
Yeah.
when you parted ways from that version of yourself,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's like kind of like shedding skin. And Steve
Oh,
Jobs used to say, you can't connect the dots looking into your future. You look back to connect the
mm,
dots and you see the people that came in your life and then left your life abruptly and you're like, whoa, okay. They came in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And
yeah,
it's not up to you to decide, but it
yeah,
is up to you to acknowledge it and and connect those dots. And it's really cool. Like I've had people I met 10 years ago in a completely different industry, and now all of a sudden I'm interacting with them again. And it's just like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, when we do grow and get out of our comfort zone, and we start to come up to a different frequency, the people that we were hanging out with down here, they didn't come with us, and we have that pull, like, oh man, I still love her and I still love hanging out with her, but she just doesn't get me, and then sometimes you spend time with them and their energy is so flatlined.
Yes.
You start to feel like you're shrinking a little just spending time,
Yeah.
it's hard. That's also hard, growth and change. We want to take I want to take everybody with me, but some people are like, I'm
It's
not
not
going to.
Yeah. They can't.
But it makes room for the people that belong in your life now.
Oh yeah. So okay, I want to kind of like go off here a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit, because when you talk about that, it kind of like brings me to like past life regression, right?
Ooh, cool. Okay.
All right. Do you have like some expertise with that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know all about it, but fill me in on what you know.
All right. So I think, like, hypothetically, this is my theory, right? Sometimes we meet people, right? Because some people in your life, like, you can't 100% shake, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can never really get away from them entirely. It's like we meet so many different people, or so many versions of ourselves in a lifetime. But then there are those ones that always kind of like stick in here, and you can't figure out, like, for the life of you, why or for what purpose that is, right?
Yep.
So you can either watch them stay the same, or you could watch them grow. It's just like you're watching each other, because everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah.
So it's like you watching you, just in different versions or whatever. There's this show on Amazon that I was just watching last night, and it kind of like made me think of what you were just talking about, as far as like those connections, right? And then also like the past life regression, how sometimes people are interconnected throughout lifetimes, and we
Yes.
don't necessarily realize that to be like what it actually is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So cool. And I'm sure when you've met somebody and you're like, have we met before?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I literally just got off the subway and I've never seen you before. And
I don't know you.
it's like, I don't know. And then it's weird, right?
Yeah.
And I full on believe that there are a lot of people who come in my life that we were either married, or we were brother and sister, or we were BFFs or something back in the Civil War. So I don't know, like,
yeah,
back, and there's that soul connection.
Yeah.
I just really believe that.
Yeah. It makes me think of like a few situations in my life, But I say that to say, like, I guess moving forward with your conversation on like coaching and everything like that, what type of coaching do you actually get into?
So I do one-on-one and I do groups, and really it's a system. I do it 12 weeks at a time.
Okay.
And we start with identifying and really clarifying a vision for your life. And it can be in one aspect of your life, like love and relationships, your time freedom, your money freedom, your vocation, like is it your career or whatever you do with your day, and healthy relation, whatever it is, like or your health. Or we can just pick one, and we really like say, okay, let's look at this a year from now or 3 years from now. What would you love? And that's the question we ask, like, what would you really love?
Yeah.
And writing it out with a pen, not typing, but we just creatively write, like, and we write it in the present tense as if it's already happened. So it would be like, if I wanted to find the love of my life, I would write it, I am so happy and grateful now that I have this most beautiful soul who's come into my life, and describe in detail what we do. We sleep in, we have coffee, we go for long walks on the beach, whatever it is, but really like getting into the details.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning, is creating what is that vision. And then we kind of break ground on it. we find out, okay, this is where I am and this is where my vision is. And so we work on building that frequency up. And there's a series of exercises. One of the hardest ones, but the most powerful one is learning the power of forgiveness.
That's a common theme this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so there's all these different building blocks that we do, and we take it into we're bridging where you are to where you want to be. We identify paradigms. Those are your fear things that come up, like fear of failure, fear of success, fear of I'm not good enough, fear I'm too old, fear I'm too young, fear I don't know what I'm doing, I'm afraid of what my friends are going to think. There's a million paradigms, and some of them we don't even know we have until we get to that growing edge, and it's like, warning, this is here, don't go there, come back down here. And then learn how to identify that paradigm and throw them in the back seat and say, okay, I see you, we can be friends, you can ride the car, but I got the wheel.
Like, you don't worry about it, sweetheart.
And we do that, and then we start to build, what does that life look like? So in the beginning stages, we don't worry about the how. We might talk about the what, definitely, or maybe the who am I going to become?
Yeah.
But the how stuff, that's not our business right now. And we really take it week by week, and then we get into building it and we become it. And it's so rich and beautiful, and the progress, and I think a year from the time I start with people, you say that they need a telescope to recognize themselves.
Yeah.
Who they were a year ago. And just, it's just so exciting. And I went through some shit. I hope I can say that on your show.
You can, please. I curse like a sailor. So don't.
All right. Yes, I love it. All right.
Don't worry about it.
We all go through shit. We all have right? And we have a story, and we love to tell that story. I call it the victim story. Oh my God, girl, you wouldn't believe what he did to me, and then this happened. And we start getting like this, right? And our shoulders are up here, and our friends are like validating. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. Well, but I'm now going to increase I'm going to have more of that shit come in my door. And if I can lose a victim story, because if I want to get up here, I got to cut the shackle of my victim story and say, bye-bye. You're not part of me anymore. Exactly. It happened. It's in my past. I don't live there anymore. I'm living here, and I'm going to live here. And so that's another one that just get rid of that victim story, because life happens to all of us. And it's, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to carry it around? Are you going to learn the lesson? And then forgive yourself for not seeing the red flags, or forgive yourself that you didn't act sooner, or whatever it is. Give yourself the grace of love. Like the things that we say to each other, ourselves in the mirror, we would never say that to our best friend.
Yeah, it's the way I think it's very tyrannical, the way that people handle themselves, and without sometimes even that conscientious ability to see that's the way that they're handling themselves.
Yeah.
You coach hard, but not like roughnecked.
Right.
I feel like, sometimes, because, it takes pressure to make diamonds, right?
Yeah.
And I think we live in a society where most people are very, they're accustomed to having like their ego stroked, and they want to hear, oh, you're such a sweet baby angel.
Yeah.
It wasn't your fault. Sometimes, and I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but it's just the truth, right? If you keep manifesting like the same bad circumstances over and over again, like at some point you really have to be able to look in the mirror and be like, okay, babe, like, what is it about us? Because I ask myself all the time, I'm like, hey, like, is there a sign on my forehead, that says like, hey, come lie here, like,
well,
and that's like me projecting outwardly, because maybe it has everything to do with, maybe like a lack of boundaries, or maybe like a lack of self-respect or self-dignity, as opposed to anybody else, because everywhere you go, there you are. That's always what it is, right? So people are always going to show up and the representative on your behalf,
right?
And a lot of people don't want to hear that. They that victim mentality thing, like that's literally, it's a thing.
Right. And you're going to, I guarantee you will attract more of what happened to you. You're going to keep
Oh,
attracting it until you let that go and
oh,
realize who you really are.
oh,
And our beliefs about ourselves are just thoughts we keep thinking. And we keep thinking
mhm,
so much that they become our belief, but that does not mean it's the truth.
oh yeah,
It's just your belief about yourself. And if you
yeah,
can change your thoughts, you will change the way you feel, and your
mhm,
feelings will change the way you act and how you react, and your results will change. But if
yeah,
you're still getting in the same results that are shitty, go
mhm,
back and think about, what are you thinking? What are you
mhm,
thinking about yourself? What are you projecting? Because that's where it all starts from.
yeah. Tell him, Beth, as within, so without, boo.
I am telling you the truth.
Literally. I
Truth.
mean, it's I think for people, because I've talked about this multiple times, right? As far as that, the mind is all, the universe is mental. That's like literally a quote that I live by, right? Because my outside world cannot reflect anything that is obsolete of what's already in my mind.
Hmm.
It's just not possible, right? And we see it like every night when we go to sleep and we dream. For those of us that can actually have dream recall, that's literally a direct representative of what you're thinking about. So what your internal world represents on a daily basis, you
Wow.
know. So kind of like know that.
Sorry about that. Thought I had it all turned on. Sorry about that.
Do you want me to pause it real quick?
No, 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 no.
Oh. um just knowing that, and some people don't know, they're
Yeah.
not aware. And that does bring me to my other question too, because I had another question for you. But being aware is very important, because if you're not aware, then you can't be intentional about your life choices, right? Which means you can't be
Absolutely.
intentional about the type of mind that you are kind of projecting out to your external reality. So I guess my question to you would be, with like the coaching thing, right? What
Mhm.
is your biggest what do you feel like as a coach is kind of like your biggest hurdle when it comes to helping clients that might have like a closed off or a minute mind, right? Because you have to have a very open mind to be a life coach.
Mhm.
If you have closed mind, you just be like, okay, well, just go take a pill, go to the doctors, or just go to the doctor and they'll prescribe you some shit, you
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah.
life coach, like, we're more on the like, all life coaches, first and foremost, I don't care like what realm they go into, but it's always accountability first, right?
Yeah.
So it's literally showing that client, like, hey, like, I'm gonna let you think for yourself, and then you're just gonna start pulling up shit.
Well, yeah, and so life coaching, it's an evocative style, meaning I'm asking quality questions at the right time, and getting you to put it on. I call it putting on the energy of your vision or your dream.
Yeah.
And that's when you can connect with the infinite, your
Mhm.
source energy, what God, whatever it is you call it. And
Yeah.
when you can put on the energy of that and really get in touch with the emotions of what does it feel like on the other side? Well, I've achieved this, it's all worked out.
Mhm.
When you come from that mindset, you will get inspired thought in a different way. You can't have a closed mind when you're wearing the energy of your dream or your
Yeah.
vision, and that's really important. And that's some breath work and really just becoming in a get into a state of allowing the energy, the receiving of the inspired thought.
Mhm.
And it isn't always necessarily what you think it will be, and it might be things come to you that you always say, oh my god, it just came out of the blue, I got this great idea. Well, it didn't come out of the blue, you just tuned in.
Yeah.
It's been there all the time.
Abraham Hicks with it.
Yes, right, I love her.
I love her so much.
But yeah, it's when you can get yourself into a state of allowing,
Yeah.
um, and that's the difference between directive coaching. That's where you're gonna come and sit on my couch and tell me your problems, and I'm gonna tell you what I think you should do.
Yeah.
You are the supreme authority on you. I'm not the authority on you. I don't live in your head. I don't live in your body. I'm not in your day to day. But I know how to get you to get self-aware and in touch. There's a word, we call it notice what you're noticing. And you call it self-awareness, but it's kind of like if you can notice that you're feeling negatively about something, or maybe you get out with your girls and having a couple of drinks and everybody starts bashing men or talking about crap that went on at work or whatever, and the vibe starts to go down here. And if you can step away and notice, I don't feel good in this situation, like this isn't resonating with me, and notice what you're noticing, maybe flip the switch, get everybody to change channels with you, or you step out of that situation. Because when you, or maybe you're in a situation where you start gossiping, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't feel good. But not to beat yourself up about it, because we're all human, we do stupid stuff. But notice what you're noticing, because as soon as you can start to tune into that, the faster you can stop yourself and change the channel or remove yourself from a situation that doesn't feel good. But when we just kind of go kind of like in la la land, we go on autopilot, we're not noticing what we're noticing, and we miss things.
Oh yeah.
We miss opportunities. For sure.
Yeah, no, I completely, I definitely completely align and resonate with that. I feel like, when you, I feel like when you're not focused on being intentional, for me and experiences that I've had, it's very easy to go like so far left, when you just literally just meant to stay like in between the lines.
Right.
But you start kind of like veering off because it's like, okay, so now instead of you becoming mindful, it's like now you're kind of like being more logical and not like in between of like objective and subjective. So your whole thought process just kind of leans into like that ideology of the logic part of things.
Yeah.
And it can start really messing with like the energetic fields around you. And
Yes.
that is very true. Like I've experienced that firsthand, so I totally know what you're talking about when it comes to that.
So let me ask you, if you were going to have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody, and like they hurt your feelings or whatever it is, when you begin to have that conversation, do you set an intention? Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be validated? Do you want to be right? Do you want them to know that they did you wrong? Or is your intention, can you come from a place of love? That no matter what happened, your intention is to come back to love.
Dang, Beth, I feel attacked right now. If I'm being honest, like, okay, full disclosure, I haven't had like a real chance to like practice that. So when you ask the question, I'm like, yeah, of course I'd like, exercise from a place of love. But, in my damaged and traumatized self, I don't think that I've actually fully thought that through. Like, what is my intention to having this conversation, as opposed to like making sure that my ego felt validated and, complete and fulfilled, boosted even.
And when you come from ego, you're coming from a place of fear.
Exactly. So that's not, and that's completely obsolete of love, as we already know, because love, one of the first the components of love is understanding. So, if you're getting egoistic about, an outcome, then you're not looking to understand anyone but your own internal, needs.
So that's beautiful what you just said. If you are more worried about the outcome, and then you're coming in with ego and fear. And if you're just truly wanting to express love, and it's so flipping hard, because somebody hurt your feelings, the last thing you want to go is, I love you. Bullshit. Like, no.
Now I need to make you feel how I felt, babe.
So, but if you think about it, if you go on the attack mode, they are going to attack back, because now you've got them in a corner and they're like, whoa, well, you did this to me, and then you did this, and then well, I did that because you did, and now we're in a yelling argument. The intention was to resolve, to be heard, but to come from a place of love, that at the end of this uncomfortable conversation, because I love you, I want to come back to love.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because then we get bruised and we get attacked and we go into defensive mode, and then it goes to shit. So I think that, it's a really important thing for people to think about, because some people have to have those spicy conversations, and it's like, well, my intention is, just to be heard, to be loved.
Yeah.
I don't need to be validated. I don't need to be right, because we're both right. We can establish that from the beginning. And understanding, to be understood, I guess, but it can't come from, I need my ego stroked.
Exactly. And not for anything, like I was having this conversation on Friday with another one of my guests, and she made a very valid point, because she lives out in Canada, right? And so she was expressing the fact that, like, in North America, which I can completely concur, like, I concur with her, because having grown up and seen it, first and foremost, we live in a different type of era when it comes to, like, dating. I mean, in relationships, like marriage, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one is really having those difficult conversations that need to be had, right? Like, hey, what are your needs? Like, for some reason, like, here it's so weird, right? And it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. It's more awkward and uncomfortable than, like, actually, like, engaging with someone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you catch my drift. And it's just like, at some point, like, you wonder, like, why is the actual conversation about, like, what are our needs? Because I feel like that it saves so much time, right?
Yeah.
If you know what someone's needs are, then you can say, okay, maybe I could possibly potentially be able to reach those, right?
Yeah.
Or I'd be willing to work towards, and not just kind of leaving you out in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't do that
I know.
here, and I'm like, why?
I think we don't do it because it comes from a very vulnerable place.
Yeah.
You really have to let your guard down to let someone in. And when you're starting a new relationship with someone, I really believe that should be one of the first conversations. And I think it's the highest form of intimacy, when I can really let you into my heart. I mean, it's easy to just have sex with somebody, we can go hang out or whatever. That's easy. But if you're in a relationship, that communicating your boundary and communicating your needs, it's hard and it's awkward because it's uncomfortable. I'm exposing myself. But isn't that funny that it's hard to do that, but it's not hard to take your clothes off,
Yeah. And
here's my
I'm lost and dazed and confused with all of it, because one is, like, more risky, but it just goes to show, like, the thought process of a lot of people.
Everybody.
It's like full sensory. But I feel like for a lot of people, because I live upstate New York, right?
Yeah.
People are more comfortable, like, putting themselves at risk for, like, an STD than to actually have that conversation, like, hey, like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. This is my non-negotiables. These are my values, principles.
Yeah.
Because no one's ever really sat down and thought about those things.
Right. Yeah.
They never thought about those things. And then when you you ask them, it's like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think you come up with those when you get triggered. And then you haven't had the conversation before, the other person is like, whoa, what are you so upset about? And you're like, well, you did this thing. And it's like, well, I didn't know that was going to bug you. I didn't know, or you completely ghosted me. What do you mean? I didn't call you.
I
need you to call me.
I just called you a week ago.
Right? It's like, why don't you call me every day? Well, you didn't say that. If you don't know, you don't know until you know, and then you got to do better.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I don't know why that's so uncomfortable.
It's insane out here. That's why I'll be telling people, like, stay safe out there.
Make it
safe. Because the audacity, I mean, and it's both sides. So I never, like, there are times where I'll, like, have, like, the gender, war. But at the end of the day, like, just from what I've been through, I know where my shortcomings were. Have I pinpointed all of them? Probably not, but
Yeah.
for the bulk and the majority, I know where I fell short or I went wrong is not having these conversations
Yeah.
because I expect the other person to be a mind reader. And
Right.
then the other person in turn expects me to be a mind reader. So
Yeah.
it's like, yo, like, okay, babe, I don't really like cooking, but you do. So do you mind cooking? And then, maybe I'll like alley you through and clean the kitchen. Great.
Yeah.
We're working together. Now we're cooking with Crisco, you
Right.
know. But it's like even small stuff like that, people don't have conversations. And it does happen, but it's so few and far in between that
Yeah.
now, like the byproduct is you see everybody's like, they're complaining about the opposite part. And it's like, hey, like, did you do your part?
Exactly.
Did you express that vulnerability? Have
Right.
you done the work? And so when I tell people like, yo, a lot of people are not qualified to be out here dating, Beth. They're
I know.
not. A
I know.
lot of people are underqualified for the
Yeah.
positions that they're seeking. So underqualified. I'm just saying. You know why? Because it takes a certain level of work for yourself. So when people say, "Oh, you have to love yourself first," we
Mhm.
just automatically assume, not all, but like the majority of us is like, "Oh, all I have to do is keep a job and, buy myself whatever I want and, good." But it's like, no, like, are you gentle with yourself? Do you have those conversations? Do you address things that bother you? Like one of the things that I started making a focal point is if someone does something that makes me feel like deeply if it makes me feel something, and I work on my delivery too, but I'm sure I point that shit out.
Yeah.
You have to,
Yeah.
because if I don't, then that means that I'm abandoning a part of myself.
Ooh.
So it's being dismissive, right? So it's very easy for someone else to come in and do that.
Yeah.
And it's wired up here. So I'm now reparenting me the way that I should have been parented in the first place.
Ooh. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And
That's
a
rich.
lot of people miss out on that.
That's rich. Yeah, they do. Well, they're missing out because it's hard. It's hard work to work on
Yeah.
yourself.
And if
And
you don't know, you don't know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I've been single for a while and I've learned a lot. I got married as a baby and started my family as a baby.
Samesies.
And then I got divorced and I had a whole chunk of life. And I was like, I never really dated. I had the same boyfriend in high school. I had the same boyfriend in college. I mean, there were two different guys. And then, that ended. And 3 months later, I'm with my husband.
Mm.
So, I had a few little dates here and there, but not
Yeah.
the whole like the googly butterfly, like starting.
He's like, what, in the movies?
Yeah. And it's like, I didn't go through that process. And now because I've done so much work on myself, I can go on a date with somebody and I know in like 2 minutes, uh-oh, this is not working out. Or second date, and then it's like my red flag. I can see the red flags now. They're going, no, 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 next, next. And it's like, is it me? Like, am I going through something? Like, or I think my intuition is so loud now that I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Dating is taking a whole different.
You get a different perspective.
Yeah.
You start thinking differently, though. I feel like when you go through certain things and then it reshapes your perspective on everything.
Yeah.
So the things, and I always say this, the things that used to at one point be a yes become an automatic no.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we perceive in a date, like for single people. It's hard because it's like, damn, like I don't want to be alone for like the rest of my life.
Right.
But I don't want to deal with somebody like, and not like that, but it's just like, bro, like, what are you doing? Now I'm asking my question. My line of questioning is different, baby. What are you doing? Like,
I like it.
in
So
therapy. Are
you're
we actively
right.
in therapy? Are
Yeah.
we journaling?
So do you ask those questions?
I do.
All right. So
I
you
do.
like you ask, have you done the work? And what does
I
that
have to. It's important because let me tell you something. If you treat you bad, then you're gonna treat me worse.
mean?
And that's a fact. And maybe it's not 100% fact, but for me and my reality, from what I've experienced, it's true. If you don't treat yourself good, if you're not taking time to say no from
Mm,
things that you don't want to say no to, then
yeah.
you're going to feel obligated to say yes to me. And if you feel obligated to say yes to me, then you're going to resent me down the line because you never really wanted to say yes in the first place.
Ooh.
You understand?
Yeah, I do.
It's a whole thing with that. Like, it's important. If you don't treat you well, you're gonna treat me worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And vice versa. You know, how are you treating yourself? You know,
Exactly.
who are you bringing into the relationship?
Exactly.
You know, that's pretty smart. You know, back in the day, we were like, okay, do you have a car? Do you have a job? Okay,
You doing good, baby. Let's go.
my date.
We getting married or we moving in? What we doing? Got time for all in between.
Yeah. Oh, and if they have all their teeth, that's good.
That's always a plus. Like, I hope.
That's one of my non-starters. You got something going on in there. We are not making out, dude. Like I can't be like, oh no, I can't. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's my non-starter. I need teeth. I need.
Yeah, I listen. I got a story for you, but it's not for this. It's not for this video. But
Oh,
I'll share it with you. I will. You
just
know,
hope you didn't wake up the next day and there were teeth in the jar. That's no good. Nobody knows.
we like, where you going? Oh, I'm going to get going. Bye.
Ah. Oh God.
Ooh, shoot. See,
Yeah.
and people out here think I'm mean. Listen, when you go through certain things, you know, like what you'll accept and what you'll tolerate, and it makes it more clear of what you want. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's important because a lot of people never get to that point where they actually like. Because I feel like at one point I was one of those hard-headed people that could go through the same thing over and over again, until one day I was just like, you know what, like why do I keep like repeating the same things, right? Maybe at some point, like there's something with me where I have to do something better.
Yeah.
And I have to start like reassessing, okay, why am I attracting certain things into my life? Why am I allowing certain behaviors? What is it about me? Because I can put it on anybody all day, every day, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
But I keep continuing the same patterns.
Hmm.
At some point, I need to be accountable, right?
That's beautiful. That's noticing what you're noticing, and the common denominator was you.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
like, I can complain all day, but where is that getting me? It's
Right.
not getting me anywhere. And again, that brings me back to like a lot of people, I think it's very difficult for them to like, have that level of recognition. Not to say people can't get there because they can, but it's hard. It's hurtful because now you don't have anybody else to blame. And I said this when I broke with my ex, I was like, I said, I could literally take all of my traumas and my triggers and I could blame it on somebody else because he was here.
Mhm.
So he's the reason why I'm miserable. He's the reason why, but he's gone. So like what's my excuse now?
Oh yeah.
I don't have one. There's no excuse. Like at some point I have to be able to look in the mirror and be like, okay, um, Kim, you're kind of fucking miserable sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's figure out why so we can, fix it. And that's okay.
Yeah. It's okay, but that's huge. A lot of people don't take that step.
Hmm.
They keep the victim story, and it's always the other person. I'm fine. I don't know what's wrong with everybody who keeps coming in
I
my life.
know. Yeah.
I have nothing to do with it. Clearly,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
perfect. Yeah. So noticing that and having the vulnerability to make the change, to
Yeah.
see that it's you. Um, it's not a fault or a judgment or a condemnation. It's just an awareness that,
Yeah.
okay, this is where I am, and things, I keep having these same things attracted into my life. What switch do I need to flip to make that
Make
change?
a difference.
I can
Yeah.
start attracting what I deserve. Because
Yeah.
it's not that you're broken, It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just a shift in your perception of you, and what you're holding on to with a death claw grip. And that's that, whatever it is, you say you're hard headed, whatever it is, realize it, identify it, and then let it go.
Yeah.
And don't beat yourself up about it. That's other key, because so many times it's like, oh my God, why did I do that again? I can't believe I said that, or I did that, or when am I ever going to learn? I'm so stupid. We talk to ourselves like that. And again, you wouldn't talk to your best friend.
Exactly.
Like that, and I think that goes back to the forgiveness. Okay, that happened, and I'm accountable to it. I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because that isn't going to get me where I want to go. So I'm going to forgive and realize that I have a chance to start over, and I have choices to make, and I know the better choices to make for me. Yeah. And whatever that is, I think that's really, really powerful.
No, it definitely is. And I definitely I appreciate you saying that, because I think when it comes to self-forgiveness, I feel like a lot of us hold on to things, right? Even though we might not be necessarily aware that we're holding on to things, but we do, and that's what kind of like dictates our movement moving forward. But if you can give anyone like a ground or a foundation as to how to begin to forgive themselves, like what would that be?
Gosh, foundation for giving yourself for forgiving yourself is realizing that there is more power within you than any situation, circumstance, or condition that you're currently in. And there is no fault and there is no blame. There is only love for yourself, and that you deserve everything that you want in your life. And there is nothing that you have done in your past that changes that. And there is a starting over day, and it could be right now in this moment. We're going to start fresh. The past is the past. We don't live there. We don't live in the future. We have today. We have right now. We have this minute. And realizing that power that we have within us, it is connected. It's our energy, and it's connected to a source energy, to God, whoever you call that. And it's an undeniable power that we get the chance and the choice to choose love and to choose self-forgiveness. It's a choice.
Well, I definitely I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I love that you broke it down like that. Again, for people that are, I guess, more hard on themselves when it comes to forgiveness and don't know like what the start of that looks like, I feel like that was a great foundation. So I want to put you up on the screen. How can the viewers get in contact with you? How can they book your services?
Oh, well, I love that. I have a website. It's called Balanced, BALANCED, lifeproductions.com. And within there, you can click the blue contact me button, and it'll take you to my calendar. I would love to offer anyone in your audience a free session with me. You get an hour of my time, no obligation. It's free. My compliments. If you were here listening to this podcast and something resonated with you, let's identify your vision. Let's clarify that. Let's see what's in store for you, and get that ball rolling. I've got a million tools in the toolkit that I can share, and I just want to help people. And gosh, 2025 is a couple of weeks away. And, I was saying this today, so many people, they make their New Year's resolutions and their goals, right? Like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to find the love of my life. I want to get a raise at work, whatever that is. That's great. But then when it doesn't happen right away, and we get to February 1st and we're like, where's the lover? Where's the cash? Like, we give up. We give up on the dream. And I think it's really cool and important and interesting exercise is to tap into the power of your imagination And imagine on the other side, what would it feel like when you achieve that goal? What would it
Mm,
feel like to be 10 pounds lighter? What would it feel like to have the lover in your bed, or the extra $25,000 in your bank account that came from the sky? What would
yes.
it feel like? Like, or if you were planning a trip, you know how like when you're going to go on this really cool trip and you get excited, and it's almost like the anticipation of the trip that's
Yeah.
almost more fun than the actual trip, right? And then you come home,
Mhm.
you look at your phone, you're like, oh, I got some great pictures.
Yes.
And it's attached to an emotion, and our emotions are so powerful. And if
Yes.
you could tap into that, and instead of just writing down the goal, this is what I will feel like when I achieve that goal, and tap into the energy of that powerful imagination, I think, and then focus on that, pour your attention on that.
Mhm.
It's amazing. All of a sudden, those inspired ideas of how to make that come true. Oh, well, yeah, I heard about Sarah. She's a personal trainer, or I could, there, all these great things start to come to you, and that's, I think that emotion and allowing yourself to have that dream, and the goals are great, but then just the emotions, like, man, it's going to feel amazing when I can fit into that dress I bought, or it's going to feel amazing when I have this extra money. This is what I'm going to do with it, or
Yeah.
that, and just tap into that anticipation, and just expect and know in your heart of hearts, and have the faith in knowing that it actually is going to happen for you.
Mhm.
And that's an exciting feeling. It's way more exciting than, "Ugh, I gotta go to the gym." Ugh.
Where
And
people are like dragging and they're dreading
yeah,
doing that movement, the progress. Mm.
yeah. And that's the other thing. You said something key, progress. And I think it's really important to celebrate the baby wins.
Oh yeah.
I got up today. I showed up today.
Mhm.
I had a great conversation with somebody. And it's like you get in bed and you're like, what the hell did I do today? I didn't do anything. And then to say, you know what, wait a minute, I did do some stuff. I did some stuff, and celebrate it, because those compound, and getting used to that feeling of saying, yeah, you did good today. You did good today.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. That's self-love. That's self-appreciation.
Mhm.
And that's really powerful, and it puts you in a different mindset, a different perspective for
Mhm.
allowing all the things that you deserve to come.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I definitely resonate with that so much. Having like trouble with like positive reinforcement, like external positive reinforcement. I've realized like the more I practice on that with myself, the easier it becomes for that to transfer like outwardly, you know. So
Yeah.
powerful what you said.
So
Yeah.
you do practice that.
Oh yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Do you do it every day? Be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, I try so to the best of my ability. I probably do, and I just don't. I'm not like very mindful of it. But more days I feel like than not, I am more intentional with like kind of how I dress myself, whether it's like
Okay.
check-ins or journaling, just kind of like recapping. So I'll go over it through the journaling process and stuff.
So do
Um,
you keep a to-do list?
kind of,
Okay, kind of.
kind of. Kind of like the days that I'm on. So like I'll either start like in the morning for like journaling, and I'll be like, okay, these are the goals that I want to accomplish today, whether they're small or large. Like my biggest goal every day is just to be like, you know what, no matter how you're feeling, Shakim, get out the bed and go to work. You know, at the very least, because everybody has options. I can easily call out. I can call out. Not my problem.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be appropriate.
Right.
It wouldn't be appropriate, or very integral on my behalf. And that's one of my core foundational principles is to make sure that I operate out of integrity, right? To the
Mhm.
best ability every day. That's just for me. So even if that means, hey, like I don't really care how I'm feeling, I could literally be going to work and I'm depressed and I'm crying every couple of stops. So when I talk to my customers, I have red puffy eyes. Let them figure it out. This got nothing to do with me, but I'm showing up. I'm doing what I have to do.
It's showing up, right? Yeah. Yeah. So something I find really powerful. I mean, I'm a to-do list girl. I don't know. I love to cross it off when I get it done. Like I don't just like get the mail. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but a to-be list. Who am I going to be today?
A
Like,
to-be list.
I'm going to be forgiving. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to be an advocate for someone. I'm going, whatever that is. It's a different thing. It's not quite as measurable. You can't cross it off. Like, okay, I did it. It's more subjective, but it's really powerful. It's something I do in the morning. I go through the gratefuls. I woke up. Yay! I have a house. I have a bed. But then, like, who needs to hear from me today? You know,
Right.
an intention, setting that intention for your day.
Yeah.
And that's when you tap back into the notice what you're noticing. Notice, I got off track a little bit. I got negative, and that's okay. But then realize that's what's going on, and then change the channel. It's like, I don't want to watch wrestling right now. I want to watch a Hallmark movie channel. Like, just change the channel, and it might get staticky, you know, but you got to keep getting into that frequency of where you want to be. And I think that's really, really a strong exercise muscle to pay attention to. You know, it's like you set your intention today. I'm going to have a fabulous day. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be present. I'm going to just take it as it comes. I'm going to get in the flow, and I'm going to stay in the flow. And then somebody cuts you off in traffic, and it's like, what the fuck? And what? Okay.
You got from 0 to 10 real quick, though.
It's like, wait, okay, no, wait, okay, then notice that. Like, okay, I got a little off track. Okay, I'm human.
You gotta reel it back in.
Reel it back in. Okay, so yeah, my intention. Oh yeah, hey, dude, I love you. Love your car. Yeah, that's
what a hell of love, my guy.
Yeah, I'm saying. But, you know, we go back. We're human, but then just notice that and redirect, you know, recalibrate. I don't know. Because if we don't, then we get to like lunchtime and somebody's like, how's your day going? You're like, you know what? My day is shit. Stop talking to me. It's like, all right, okay. See you later, right?
Good to hear.
Like, okay. But then when you even project it even louder, like, what else can go wrong? Really? Like, I got a flat tire, I ran out of gas. What else is going to go? Well, believe me, the universe is going to show you what else can go wrong.
Yeah, everything.
Some stuff.
So when it rains, it pours.
Right.
You have to avert your eyes from the rain, though. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that you have to close your eyes when it rains sometimes. Because if you don't, what happens is then it'll start thundering and all sorts of stuff. And now it's messing up your day.
But you gotta turn it around, or otherwise you're gonna get you're gonna get a shit sandwich for lunch. Sure.
I swear.
But, you know, you have the power within you to not get caught up in the circumstance, the condition, the situation. You have so much more power than that. And your power is change the channel. Okay, what is this teaching me? I drove somewhere with my phone on the hood of my car. And then I went to go get my phone. I'm like, where's my phone? Well, my phone was crushed into a million pieces because it was on the road. And it happened to me twice in a month. Okay. Hello, what's the lesson I'm supposed to be learning? I am not present. I'm not paying attention to details. And I had to reel myself back in to the tune of 2 brand new phones in a month. Ouch. And it got my attention. And I could have been caught up in like, why is this happening to me? As opposed to, okay, what am I supposed to learn here? This happened for me. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't like that it happened, but I'm supposed to be learning something. And I just say a little prayer to the universe, like, when you need to get my attention, you could speak a little quieter. Doesn't need to be turn it up.
You ain't got to raise your voice, sweetheart.
Just slap me upside the head, like here.
A little tap tap. That'll be fine.
Tap tap.
I'm not asking for too much, you know.
I don't need a drastic like anything. Like little softer now, please.
Yeah. I just ask for like clear and direct messages, like the 555-444. Like I know, 909 has been a thing like as of recently, and I'm like, come on, bro. Like it's been almost a year since I've seen those numbers, so I don't remember. Like, can we,
Oh,
can we get
wow.
a little bit more clear, more specific?
That's cool that you work in numbers. Mine is 313, and it's the birth date of a client I had who passed away.
Oh
And
my God.
every time I look at my phone middle of the night, it's 313. I could be running on a treadmill. I've gone 3.13 miles. It's weird, and it's been with me since he died. And I just say, "Hey, what's going on?" He's summoned to say hello. But yes, and the whole numbers thing is really cool, and
Yeah.
I believe in it.
Oh, me too. I stopped and figured it out all the way with the numerology. But it's definitely something like it's been kind of like crossing my path for a while. I actually had like last month sometime, one of my guests, she just started getting into numerology. And she goes, Shakam, you should really get into numerology. I'm like,
Okay.
okay. I don't know. I feel like my mind is all over the place. I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. But, I think it's more important because sometimes, like, what we're supposed to be focused on pops up so much, like, and it's so direct and in your face that
Yeah.
we can kind of like try to dismiss or ignore it as opposed to like, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to be focused on this.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe you should do. I mean, how many times have you heard now that you should get into numerology? We just talked about it. Somebody else talked about it.
Yeah.
So I believe in the power of three, and that if you've heard it 3 times, there's a reason that
So now you being hard-headed, girl.
Yeah. Might be calling to you. There's something about you're something you're supposed to learn there.
I'm gonna have to eventually.
Eventually.
I got to figure out a way to work that into everything. But I definitely did. I get the website is correct on the bottom, right?
Yep, that's me. BalanceLifeProductions.com.
All right, awesome.
Thank you for doing that.
Wait, what was that?
I said thank you for putting that up there.
Oh, of course. So all of the rest of your stuff is going to be in the description down below for the audience. So anybody that's trying to get in contact with you directly, whether it's to book your services or just connect with you, and I think you already sent me everything, so that'll be in the description.
Yeah, I have a book launch coming next month. So if you have 5 lucky people that would love a pre-copy, I'd be happy to send it off.
Pick me. No, I'm definitely going to. Did you send me the link for that?
Well, it hasn't been published. It'll be published mid-January. I do have the ebook. I'd be happy to send you the ebook because I'm proud of it. And I have a wonderful endorsement from Les Brown. He's my mentor, and he did a beautiful voiceover endorsement of the books that I'm super proud of.
I love. So that means that you have to come back on.
So okay.
You have to come back so we can talk about your book.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna read it first, so I can be in the conversation too.
I will send it to you.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being here today. I so appreciate you. I feel like you brought so much more new information, stuff that I didn't know. You kind of like refurbished stuff that I already knew and put a whole new spin on it. So I definitely appreciate you for that. For my audience watching, please make sure that you check out balancelifeproductions.com to get in contact with Beth, book her services, or just kind of make sure that you guys are a good fit.
Yeah, let's just have a conversation.
Oh yeah, or have a conversation. She said, hop in the DMs on that one.
Whatever. We can schedule a call and just chat.
All right. And if whatever you guys took from this episode, please make sure that you leave it in the comments down below. We definitely want to hear what your input was or what you took away from the episode. And until next time, thank you for watching Truth, Trust, and Trajectory with your girl, Shakam B. And okay, bye.